Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Always fun.
Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting, coloring word search puzzle books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, we've all seen the trend of adult coloring books, these kind of bold and easy coloring books. And, of course, word search puzzles have been around forever.
Right.
And so this is a niche that combines these two trends, and the source that we're looking at today is a sales page for software that can help people create these kinds of books.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at the sales page, kind of unpacking, what is the demand for these books? What are the challenges in creating them? And is this software the key to success in this market?
Yeah. You know what I find interesting just at the outset is that you've got these two really strong trends that each individually have a big market, adult coloring and then word search puzzles.
Right.
And the idea of combining them, I think it's really creative, and it's definitely something that I'm sure is resonating with a lot of people.
Well, the sales page makes the claim that, both word search and bold and easy coloring books are doing incredibly well on Amazon KDP.
Okay.
And apparently word search puzzles are like a rock star niche. Like they're always at the top. They're consistently selling.
And that makes sense, right? I mean, it's kind of like a classic brain teaser, and there's a lot of people who just, they want something to relax with that's not too challenging, but it's still engaging.
Right, exactly. And then you have the bold and easy coloring books, which appeal to people who want that, relaxing therapeutic activity.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's not too intricate, not too detailed, but just these kind of simple shapes and patterns that they can just kind of zone out and color.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, the author of this sales page is interesting because he actually highlights his own success. He released word search puzzle software back in 2020 called Instant Puzzle Generator, and he claims that he sold over 7,500 units of this software.
Wow. Okay, so that's showing that there's a demand, right? There's people who want to create these kinds of book.
Right, exactly. And he's even got examples on his sales page of existing coloring word search puzzle books that are on Amazon.
Interesting.
And they have good ratings.
Mm-hmm.
They're selling. He estimates that one author has 4 books that have sold over 5,000 units.
So there's a proof of concept right there.
Yeah, so it seems like there is a market for these things, but here's the catch.
Okay.
He really emphasizes the difficulty of creating these books manually.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, and so that's where things get really interesting because he goes into a lot of detail about the challenges involved.
So what are some of those challenges?
Well, one of the first things he talks about is the font.
Okay.
It's got to be a font that has clear outlines,
right,
that's suitable for coloring, but it also has to have enough space within the letters for people to actually color in.
Yeah, because if the letters are too thin or too close together, it's
Yeah.
going to be really hard to color neatly.
Exactly. And he says that, a lot of times creators end up having to seek out custom fonts, which can be really expensive.
Okay, I see. So that's already a hurdle right there.
Right. And then there's the actual design work, arranging the words, creating the layout of the puzzle, making sure everything's aligned.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like it could get really tedious.
Oh, yeah. He talks about the need for proficiency in design software like PowerPoint, Illustrator, or Canva.
Wow.
And even with those tools, he says, it can take weeks to create a single book.
Yeah, so we're talking about a significant time investment here.
Huge. And don't forget about the solution pages.
Oh, right, because you have to make sure that all the answers are correct and that they link back to the right puzzles.
Yeah. He describes it as a logistical nightmare.
Uh-huh.
And he stresses that any errors in the solutions, they will damage customer trust.
Absolutely, because if people are buying a puzzle book, they expect the solutions to be accurate.
Right. And then he goes on to talk about, if you try to outsource this or hire a team.
Right, which seems like a logical solution if it's that time-consuming.
It is, but then you run into other problems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, managing the projects, maintaining quality control, the cost can really start to add up.
Okay, so it's a bit of a catch-22.
And he basically concludes that scaling a business based on manual creation, it's nearly impossible.
So that's where the software comes in, I'm guessing.
That's exactly right. And that brings us to what this whole sales page is about, which is Coloring Word Search Puzzles Generator.
Okay.
He calls it CWSPG for short.
Yeah.
It's this cloud-based app, and it promises to automate the creation of these books, like from start to finish.
So it's kind of like taking all those pain points that we just talked about and trying to eliminate them.
Exactly. And, for example, remember the issue with the font?
Yeah, finding that perfect font.
Well, this software includes a custom designed font that is specifically made for coloring.
Okay, so that's one less thing to worry about.
Right. And it also provides different trim sizes, page numbering styles, and get this automated solution generation.
Wow, so no more checking every answer by hand.
Exactly. They basically handed all of those tedious, time-consuming aspects over to the computer.
That's pretty impressive.
And that's not all. They also included all these other features like one-click puzzle regeneration.
What does that mean?
So if you don't like the way a puzzle looks, you can just click a button and it will regenerate it with a different layout.
Oh, that's handy.
Right. They also have margin display, drag and drop text components, over 900 font options.
Wow. So they've really tried to think of everything.
It seems like they have, and it makes this niche, seem a lot more appealing now because you've got low competition,
Right.
high demand, and now this tool that promises to make the process so much easier.
Yeah. But is it really that simple?
Well, that's what we're going to be exploring. The sales page itself uses some pretty interesting language to describe this opportunity.
I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah, they repeatedly call it a blue ocean opportunity.
Okay. Which is interesting because it implies that there's not a lot of competition.
Right. And their reaction to discovering that there was existing demand for these books,
Yeah.
they described it as jaw-dropping.
Okay, so they're really trying to play up the excitement and the, sense of urgency.
Yeah.
But do the claims hold up?
Well, they do offer some evidence, like they mentioned those 4 books, with around 100 ratings each.
Right.
Which suggests that, there is a viable market.
Okay.
And they also emphasize that books created with CWSPG will look just like they came from a traditional publishing house.
Interesting. So they're emphasizing the quality of the software's output.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently they even spent hundreds of dollars working with a high-end font foundry.
Really?
Yeah, to create like the perfect font for coloring.
Okay, so they're not messing around.
No, they're serious about this. And when it comes to pricing, they've got a classic value proposition.
What's that?
They say that the software offers features worth over $3,000,
Okay.
but you can get it for a one-time payment of $97.
Wow, that's quite a deal.
It is. It's tempting, right? But
Yeah.
as always, there's some caveats.
There always are.
So the sales page does mention that there are no refunds. There's a download limit of 100 books per month,
Uh-huh.
and there are some restrictions on commercial use rights.
Oh, interesting. So you can't just do whatever you want with the books that you create.
Right. You can sell them on platforms like Amazon Etsy, your own website,
Okay,
but you can't resell individual puzzles or give away freebies.
I see.
So there are some limitations there. So while it seems like this software handles a lot of the technical side,
Right.
there's still a lot to consider before, diving headfirst into this niche.
Definitely. It's not as simple as just, click a button and make money. There's more to it than that.
There is, and that's what we're going to be unpacking as we continue our deep dive.
Sounds good. I'm ready to dive deeper.
Okay.
I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's do it.
All right. I mean, now that we've kind of looked at the specifics of this software and the niche that it's targeting, I think it's interesting to kind of zoom out a little bit
Right.
and think about some of the larger implications here.
Sure.
The emergence of tools like CWSPG,
Yeah.
I think raises some interesting questions about the evolving landscape of self-publishing in general.
Yeah, it seems like we're seeing more and more of these kinds of platforms and software
Yeah.
that are designed to either streamline or in some cases outright automate various aspects of content creation.
Right. And I think that leads to the question of, where do we draw the line
Right.
between, using tools to enhance our creativity versus, the potential to just kind of churn out generic content.
Right. Is it, are we becoming too reliant on these tools? Are we losing that, human touch, that personal creative spark?
And it's a valid question.
Yeah.
Because there are compelling arguments on both sides.
Right.
On the one hand, you could say that software like CWSPG really empowers individuals who might not have design skills
Right.
or the time to create these books manually.
Right. It levels the playing field.
Exactly.
Allows more people to participate.
It democratizes the process. Yeah.
Yeah. But then on the other hand,
Yeah.
you could argue that this accessibility could lead to a flood of similar looking books.
Yeah. Kind of cookie cutter books.
Yeah. And ultimately diminishing that diversity and originality that I think we often see in self-publishing.
Right. And I think, if everyone's using the same software,
Right.
the same templates, the same fonts,
Yeah.
It's easy to imagine a scenario where originality suffers, and we see a decline in, that unique handcrafted feel
Right.
that often attracts readers to self-published works.
Right. It's like this weird paradox.
Yeah.
Where, the tools that are supposed to make things easier
Yeah.
could actually end up leading to a more homogenized market.
It's a double-edged sword in a way.
So what are your thoughts on this, this potential trade-off?
Well, I think it really comes down to the creators themselves.
Okay.
Software can be incredibly useful, but it shouldn't dictate the entire creative process.
Right.
It's still up to the authors to infuse their own personality, their own unique style into the final product.
So it's about using it responsibly and thoughtfully.
Exactly.
The software handles the technical aspects, but the creator, provides the heart and soul.
Right. And that, I think, leads us back to the question of feasibility and profitability.
Okay.
Can a business built around this model of using software to create these kinds of books, can it be successful?
I mean, the sales page makes a pretty strong case. They cite the existing demand,
right?
The efficiency of the software.
Yeah.
But, there are other factors to consider.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
competition.
Yes.
The ever-changing algorithms of online marketplaces.
Right. Because even if the market is relatively untapped now,
right,
the low barrier to entry could attract a lot of new creators.
Exactly.
Is it going to lead to increased competition?
And those platforms like Amazon, they're always tweaking things.
Right. Always changing the rules of the game.
Yeah. So, it's not a guaranteed path to success.
No.
It's just like any other business venture.
Exactly. It requires planning. It requires a good marketing strategy.
Right.
And perhaps most importantly, I think it requires a genuine passion for the niche.
Yeah. That enthusiasm is contagious.
Right.
And if you're not excited about creating these puzzles, it's going to show in the final product.
Yeah. Readers can sense when a creator is really invested.
Right.
And when they're not.
Yeah. So let's put this question to our listener.
Okay.
Would you be drawn to this business model? Utilizing software to capitalize on these niche trends in self-publishing?
Yeah.
Or does the more hands-on traditional creative process hold a greater appeal for you?
Because it's a personal choice, right?
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Some people, they really find satisfaction in building something from the ground up.
Yep.
Taking complete control of every aspect.
Right.
Others might appreciate the efficiency and convenience that software offers. It allows them to focus on the creative elements that they enjoy the most.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so fascinating about self-publishing.
Right.
It's so diverse.
It is.
There's room for all sorts of approaches and styles.
And that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
Experimentation and innovation are always encouraged.
So the key is to find what works for you.
Yeah.
What aligns best with your skills, your goals, and your own creative vision.
Exactly.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a great place to kind of pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the nitty-gritty details of this software to the, more philosophical questions that it raises about creativity and, the nature of authorship.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
So now we want to hear from you.
Yeah. What were your key takeaways from this deep dive?
What sparked your curiosity?
Does the prospect of utilizing software like this excite you? Or do you have reservations?
We're really eager to hear your thoughts, so join the conversation on social media.
Yes.
Share your insights.
Yeah. And who knows? Your insights might even inspire our next deep dive.
That's right.
So until then, happy creating.
Yeah.
And remember, whether you embrace technology or prefer a more hands-on approach, the most important ingredient is your unique voice and vision. Before we wrap up, there was one other thing from that sales page that really kind of stuck with me.
Oh, yeah. What's what?
Well, they made a point of saying that if you use their software, your book will look as if it's been created by an established education resources publishing house.
Okay.
And not, some individual POD book publisher.
So like that professionally made claim.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you see that a lot in marketing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think in this case, it raises an interesting question.
Yeah. What's that?
Is that always what we want?
Yeah.
Is that always the desired outcome?
Right, because part of the appeal of self-publishing is that freedom to break away from that traditional, sometimes generic look of mass-produced books.
Right, exactly. There's something to be said for that kind of unique independent aesthetic.
Yeah, and I think there's this tension sometimes within the self-publishing world
Yeah.
between, wanting that legitimacy, wanting to be seen as on par with traditionally published authors,
Right.
but also wanting to embrace that, unique, independent style.
Right. So it's like finding that balance
Exactly.
between, achieving a level of polish and professionalism, but still retaining that individuality.
Right, because think about those charming children's books with
Yeah.
hand-drawn illustrations or, poetry collections with
Yeah.
unconventional layouts, those elements contribute to their authenticity.
Right. It's what makes them stand out.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not about shunning technology altogether,
Right.
but using it strategically. Like the software can handle the layout, the font selection.
Right. The technical stuff.
Yeah. And that frees up the creator to focus on those,
Yeah.
those personal touches.
Right. It's all about leveraging technology as a tool
Yeah.
to enhance creativity, not to replace it.
And it seems like the most successful self-published authors are the ones who find that sweet spot,
Yeah.
where they're using the tools to streamline the process, but they're still maintaining their distinct style and their creative control.
And that really brings us back to, what we've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah.
Whether you're drawn to the efficiency of software or you prefer a more hands-on approach.
Right.
The essence of self-publishing really lies in expressing your unique perspective.
It's about sharing your passion, your ideas, your stories
Exactly.
with the world, regardless of the tools that you choose to use.
And, self-publishing offers this platform for such a diverse range of voices
Yeah.
and unconventional ideas, and it's constantly evolving.
Right.
And it's so exciting to see how creators are, utilizing technology to navigate this world.
Well, I think on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of coloring word search puzzle books.
It's been quite a journey.
It has been. And I want to encourage our listeners to continue exploring
Yeah.
this fascinating world of self-publishing.
Absolutely.
Experiment.
Yeah.
Learn. Don't be afraid to embrace new technologies and techniques.
And remember, the most valuable asset that you bring to the table is your unique perspective. Doesn't matter if you're a seasoned author or just starting out, your voice matters.
It does.
So go out there, create something amazing, and share it with the world.
We hope this deep dive has provided some valuable insights.
Yeah.
Maybe sparked some new ideas.
Maybe even sparked a new business.
Yeah. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, what resonated with you?
What questions do you still have?
What other areas of self-publishing would you like us to explore?
So join the conversation on social media. And who knows?
Yeah.
Your insights might even inspire our next deep dive.
Exactly.
Until then, happy creating.
Yeah. Happy creating.